Hey everybody, you're listening to the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me as always is the Mr. Gimpy.
What's up, Chip? Drink to
What's
that, buddy?
happening? Yeah, we got a nice little vodka and gin going here.
It's actually I'm with you today, dude.
That jungle juice.
Usually it's too early, right, when we're recording, but I'm with you today, man.
Yeah, it's a little late. It's an afternoon.
As of this time though, like as of time of recording, it's Superbowl Sunday, right?
Oh, so that's right.
So I got some. I'm making some chicken wings. I got some spicy chicken sandwiches I'm making today. And I started a little early.
Event?
Yeah. So I got some shit brewing for the meal tonight, and just some classic football snacks. I got some meatballs that I made too, just as some hors d'oeuvres. It's really just gonna be me and the family. I don't even think anybody's stopping by, but. I like the tailgating style of food. It's a good time for it.
I feel like my one coworker has not chilled the F out, dude. Like he's been steady. He's a very extrovert, where he likes to hang out with other people. During this whole pandemic, he's like had groups of friends that he'll like go and hang out with, but he knows like who he's dealing with or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think they've all taken safety precautions or whatever
around him. It's like this motherfucker goes everywhere. He's like Magic Johnson in the 80s. Like, you know what I mean?
This is somehow
this fucking patient zero.
Yeah. So like in the back of my head, I'm like, if I'm gonna catch the plague, dude, it's gonna be from this guy. Like.
For sure.
But he was talking about like having like some sort of Super Bowl party that he was going to go to, and I was like, "Oh, who's playing?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that's funny.
I've always felt like sporting events are more of an excuse to have like a good party with people.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't really care about sports in general. I didn't have like the local pride or anything like that. And, then as I got older and then I went to some sporting events, and I started playing sports and participating, I got more and more into it. Family members played football at the semi-pro level and, try out for pros and stuff like that. So that's been in my family. And then, for myself, I played, basketball, ran track, did things. So got more interested in it. And the sports I play, I'm more interested in watching, right? Like how much I love disc golf. Like I literally watch like pro disc golf shit. Dude,
what's wrong with you, man?
Chilling, dude. Sometimes you gotta get. We live in a winter state, so I can't go out in the middle of winter and fucking throw, So I got that. I watched the fucking ping pong during the Olympics and shit.
Practice net, right?
I do, and that shit's out all the time.
Set that up
bro.
out in the winter, bro.
I mean, you got to clean that shit off though, because it'll rust and shit. Yeah. It's annoying. Like one of our old disc buddies, CJP, he left his disc basket out all winter. That shit was fucking just rust bucket, dude. When he threw at it, the chains wouldn't even move anymore. It's so fucking rusty, dude. It's fucked up, but yeah, man. So I got more into it, right? And then like basketball became my first like sporting love. Where Minnesota, Kevin Garnett with the Timberwolves went to a game, saw him just fucking going into a defensive stance and just fucking get amped and ready, and he jumps up and fucking riles the crowd up. It was a good time, dude. Like you're in it, so it's a cool feeling. So I get sports, and I get the sporting events. Like I said, football isn't like my number one, number two sport. But I'll always watch the Super Bowl. It's, like my dad watched it all the time growing up. I remember certain Super Bowls and shit. So, it's like big events. Like it's even to the point where like my dad was a car guy, right? So he doesn't watch like NASCAR or any racing things, but his dad used to race. He used to race Porsches. Yeah. And so just from that connection, my dad's my dad's done some racing as well, but never like advanced super far. And but he'll every year we'll watch the Daytona 500, right? And I've watched that too. Like the boringest thing you could watch, but I remember certain like big Daytona events, like the Dale Earnhardt death, unfortunately, one of Jeff Gordon's wins, like his third win or something like that, or second. And just, sporting events like that. So you're a part of history because so many people watch it, It's like, where were you? Jordan's Game 6 last shot against the Utah Jazz in 98. I watched that. That's one of my like vivid memories from as a kid. So it's one of those things where the larger zeitgeist like gets into it too, so you feel a part of that world. And I get it.
Space Jam movie.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what this says about me, but I've liked sports. I don't like cars are racing, but I've been to way more car shows than the actual like sporting events. I don't know what that says about me. Where I'm like, oh, it's a car show. I'm gonna go check this out.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not really like classic into cars, but you know, my dad and stuff, and my dad.
I'm not into them at all. I don't even own a car, bro. Like I'm like. I moved to like make my life more efficient and easy going. Where I'm like, I don't need to bother with a vehicle anymore. I'll just move closer to where I work. So I can just take transportation or just walk there and get some exercise in. But I have gone to probably like 7 or 8 different car shows just to like take in the cars, man.
There's something cool about being around or even like test driving like the fancy cars. Like for my 30th birthday, the professor and I, raced Lamborghinis around Vegas, and that was so fucking cool, dude. like it was cool as fuck. Like there's something about it,
It's the right place to do it too. I feel like too many people are like, I'm gonna race this car in the middle of a city. It's like, you don't want to do that. I don't know. It's like, okay, try and catch some air. We're gonna try and come up off a hill, and it's like, bro, you're gonna end up dying. Like, you don't want to do that.
We did a drift race as well. So we had professional drivers drive us around, and they were just like drifting around the track. We were like side by side drifting. That was cool as fuck, dude. Like,
it's a little romantic, dude.
Yeah, dude. It really was.
A little off, point.
Yeah, no, it was dope though, man. That was one of the best experiences of my life. Like driving a Lamborghini, sitting in a Ferrari Enzo is like one of my bucket list things. Like for not being into cars, I still like have like car goals and stuff, right? Maybe not owning one, but there's some like playing racing games growing up, and then like I said, my dad used to sell cars back in the day. He rebuilds them, so like it's been in the back of my mind. So certain things are pretty awesome. The last thing on my bucket list that I have to do, dude, is skydive. That's it. I'm done with life at that point.
Why do you want to skydive, man? What's the appeal? What are you doing?
It's the view and that feel like when you're
have
just
you been
arms
just
outstretched.
Regular flying, bro. Like just look out the window, like out of a plane.
So it's being out there with your arms outstretched, right? Feeling the wind beneath you, man, as you're going to the earth, man. It's like there's not that there can't be anything like it, man.
Is there some VR, bro? Just hook up some VR.
I've done it, dude. I've done it. VR ain't
get
the
a
same,
fan
dude.
in front of you.
I gotta have that shit in life, bro.
Get you a body harness and like hook it up to like a swing and just like sit there with like your VR headset, dude. What if you fall? It's like 3 feet to the ground.
So what made me want to do skydiving is actually the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. At the beginning of that movie, they're all skydiving at the begining. I'm like, that looks amazing, Yeah. I don't want to do the surfboard. I just want to fucking jump out and just, like fly, man. What human being doesn't want to fly, right? Human beings are always trying to get off the ground. I want to do the opposite. I want to fucking fly towards it, man. It seems awesome. I'd love to do a wingsuit, but I don't think that's in the cards for me. So, just jump out of a plane and parachute down, man. I've
watched some of these wingsuit people who go like incredibly it's like it always looks like they're like 1 second away from death, and it's hard to tell from the cameras as well, though, because I know like sometimes like when you look back at like footage, because like the field of view or whatever, like things are like way closer than they actually are in real life. You're like, oh my goodness, this guy's so close to X, Y, and Z.
Close to death. It's what, man, it's one of those things where remember when I did the tournament in Chicago for Combo Breaker for Mortal Kombat a couple years ago? I'm always searching for that like adrenaline spike, that like nervous anticipation, that and the release right after, like there's no better feeling than that. And doing dangerous shit, like it does that instantly. I don't know if it's like an adrenaline thing or searching for it, but my life has become more sedentary than ever before, and I find myself craving like just an outlet for some things.
Just eating Taco Bell's giving you that adrenaline rush now, dude. Gambling with fate now, dude.
Yeah, dude. One day, so I made a deal with my wife because she's like, no, you're never jumping out of a plane. She's like, unless I'm dead, and I was like, okay, how about about this. What if I take one of the kids with me? She's like, what? I was like, yeah, when the kids get older, if they're interested, I will go with them. And I'm assuming it'll be my daughter, right? Because she likes a lot of the same things I like, but my son also like will jump off of high shit without any regard to his safety. So one of them will definitely want to do it when they're like 16. You can start doing it when you're 16. So if one of their 16 birthdays, dude, me and one of my kids, man, we're just gonna jump out of a plane, flying. It's just gonna be amazing. Yeah,
all right.
So we'll see. You know,
heard it here first.
Heard it here first on the pod. But yeah, I forget what we were talking about. Oh yeah, sports.
Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Skydiving at the Super Bowl has always been like a staple of that as well. People coming out of the sky there for the halftime. The halftime shows have gotten more ridiculous too as time's gone on. Like, I don't know.
It's gonna be dope today, dude. You got Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. Should be good.
Are they still doing that other group? The whatever it was like the 5 Kings of the West Coast or some nonsense.
I think that was like a hypothetical thing. I don't think they've ever done it.
They had like one performance. It was like Ice Cube and like Snoop Dogg and somebody else.
Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. It was basically the NWA group, but with Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah. What's his name? Who always messes up? Who always like he's always a feature, never an actual. No. He's in that same vein though. Oh, I can't think of it. That's gonna bug me. Whatever.
Nate Dogg.
Nah, it's close.
He's dead now.
Man.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's gonna be whatever. It's gone.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So have you been playing any games lately, man? Developing? Like we haven't talked in a little bit here. What's new with you, brother?
I've mostly just been addicted to this audiobook, and I've just been listening to this audiobook and then messing around with different art AI generation still. I'm building out like a weird portfolio of concept art that I don't know why I'm making, but it's like I'm slowly accumulating like a lot of ideas.
Okay.
I don't know, like listening to like these different books because I need to, pass the time. There's nobody really to talk to at work because I have to still go into the office, and there's only that one other dude there who's like, gambling with his life every single weekend. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to like get too close to this guy. Wants to keep my 6 feet on this guy.
Right. He's just raw dogging life and coming at you with syphilis and you don't want it.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that.
For sure.
Trying to dodge that like the Matrix.
For sure.
I've just been like going into different audiobooks and like, I've always heard like the term, like you want something that's familiar, but different. Like that's what like, big multimedia companies do, where it's like, why are they doing all these reboots? What's with all this like really unimaginative garbage? And I was like, yeah, man, like why not try something new? I don't know, listening to like a bunch of different like really bad audiobooks, I'm like, you know what, there's something too just like familiar but like slightly different. And like I know like in China as well as Japan, like they're way looser with like fan fiction and like just literally stealing somebody else's like book idea.
The whole like what's a doujin market, right, or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Well, there's like several different ones where like there's like erotic fiction. It's basically fanfic. I mean, we do it here in the States as well, where like people like get famous book series and then they'll like take their own spin. It's like famously like what Twilight was based off of, like another book or whatever.
Yes.
It's it's the same idea with the different, familiar but different.
Yes.
And so they do the
50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the same idea is true in concept art, where you think that what's going to sell and make big waves or get you a good portfolio is like coming up with really good, neat, and abstract ideas. But every designer you will talk to, like in the industry, is just like make something that's familiar but slightly different. Like they don't want anything like too crazy. Like near future is kind of what your goal is, or like
I feel unless you're working for Shinji Mikami, right, who wants like these crazy ass monster designs. So I think that's the exception. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's like everybody like in professional games, like just make something that's like close to reality but slightly different. So I've been trying to train up my mind's eye and visual library with that, and that's what a lot of different artists will do. They'll like build up portfolios of reference material where they can just like look at and like take different ideas from things and combine them. So I've been like trying to just I think it's called ideation.
Ideation.
Just create a bunch of ideas and just having like these weird portfolios of things that I've created. And I don't know what I'm doing that for, what it's useful for, but
just expanding your artistic horizon, man. That's all it is. Nothing. There doesn't need to be a reason. You know, I get it. That's dope, dude.
Yeah, man. Why do bees make honey, bro? What about you?
For sure. That's a hell of an analogy. Dude, I've like I said, I have that project for my day job that's due Tuesday, so I'll be done with that soon, and I can work on my game dev a little more. So I've been working on that, but a new game came out that kind of led to today's topic. I thought, I was in the like majority for this, but maybe I'm not. So the little game called Sifu came out just a few days ago at the time of recording, and I got it on the PS5, and I've been playing the shit out of it, and I absolutely love it, dude. It is like you've seen my streams. Like I have a definite like 70s kung fu theme going with like my intro. Like you'll see like new pop-ins or whatever are just gonna be all like martial art, like wuxia and old Shaw Brothers style stuff. Like going in, because I was like, that's something that I grew up with and I absolutely love, and like people who get to know me realize that, oh yeah, this dude's like way too into this shit. But I was like, I should probably present that more because it is a huge part of my life. It's not just gaming. It's when I was sick, right? Like what I would watch is like some sort of like old kung fu movie that I haven't seen in forever, or if at all, a lot of the movies that I watch are typically like some martial art movie that's a random movie I picked. It's either horror or martial art, and I've seen so many. So it's like I'd like to present that a little more. So Sifu starts off like a real like 60s 70s kind of grindhouse starting. You start off as the villain, you murder your master, and then you in front of his kid you become the kid, and then you are starting on this journey to kill everyone who's involved in killing your father. And
does it give any sort of reason for why you're want to kill the Sifu?
For his he has
the secret technique.
It's of course 100% secret technique. 100%.
The ancient tome of the dragon fist or some nonsense.
It's such a standard like martial arts story, but I absolutely love how far they're leading into this, dude. It's great.
And like I don't know, it's got a common trope as well, as where it's like in kung fu and martial arts is you only give like your main techniques to your main lineage, like your own family. And like inner or outer disciples will never get that final secret family technique. You always have like the secondary kung fu.
Yeah, exactly.
That can be suppressed by the main family line kung fu.
Right. But then there's always that one technique where one outsider will learn because the insider was not worthy enough. Like Kill Bill most famously did it with the 5-finger palm of death. And then Bill was like, Pai Mei taught you the technique. She goes, of course he did. It's shout out Gordon Liu, who was also in 36 Chambers of Shaolin, who played Pai Mei in Kill Bill. But it's absolutely just scratching that itch, man. Like I love beat 'em ups as well. It's one of my favorite genres growing up. And as gaming evolved, beat 'em ups were just gone by the wayside. We get a few releases every now and then, but nothing to really move the needle, And the same company made Absolver, which was another good like martial arts game, but there's something missing for it. And Sifu just like checks all his boxes for me, dude. And one thing about it is the game only has 5 levels, right? And you can beat it. You can beat it on your first life and just go through because you have all the techniques you're going to need to beat the game. The problem is you have to be good at the game. So it has like this roguelike element where you die, you get older, and of course in martial arts movies and things like that, the old guy is always the most powerful, right? Because he has all the techniques and stuff.
That's right, bro.
So you get stronger like every decade, and but your health lowers. So you're a glass cannon. Dude, it's such a good. It's like how they portray you being surrounded. You actually have to dodge every attack with like a button combo and like a directions. You can parry, and the parry window is super tight, so you actually have to like time it, and if someone throws like a bottle or a knife or something at you, you can time your parry to grab it and throw it back at them.
Absolutely.
It's some classic kung fu shit, dude. If there's like and then like you're walking around or whatever, there's something on the ground, you can kick it towards the person and like hit them in the face, or if it's like a chair, like knock them over and ground pound them. It's such a fluid fighting system, dude, that I am having an absolute blast playing through this. And like so far I'm on the 4th level. I beat the 1st level without dying. I beat the 2nd level still being in my 20s. I'm like 28 at that point. 3rd level I hit my 40s. I think it was like 48. So the 4th level I'm on the boss, but I'm thinking of retrying it to beat it at a younger life so I can have more chances to beat the 4th level. But yeah, and all the boss fights are typical like martial arts tropes. You know, it's like the 5 deadly venoms that you're fighting basically. So you have like the crazy person, you have the near demon kind of a thing, you have the elder one with like the big like go-go style like a chain with a giant ball in the end with a knife or whatever. Yeah. So it's cool shit, dude. I'm absolutely loving it. And I was looking at whenever I'm interested in a game, I don't really look at reviews, right? I just buy the game, and then after I play it a little bit, I'll go back and look at reviews. I'm looking at Sifu reviews. It's getting like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, something like that. And then there's a couple of comments that really stood out to me that kind of sparked another debate. The game is too hard, and I'm like, the game is challenging, but I don't think it's too hard. And then I look again, and people are like, no, this game needs an easy mode. It's ridiculously hard. I don't know how this game is impossible to beat. Like, and then people were saying it's impossible to beat the 1st level without dying. I'm like, I did it. I'm like, I did it the first day I got the game. Like, what are you talking about? Get good, fucker. Right. And that statement that I made is actually the problem. It's the inherent problem with certain games like
just
this.
Get good.
Get good, right? Now the question I want to propose to you and everyone listening is, hard
Get
games.
Good. Stay hard.
Is getting good the true solution, or should developers make an easy mode, make the game easier? Or what's your opinion on this? Chip, I'll give you the floor, then I'll say what I think.
Yeah. So I think there's like different kinds of difficulty as well, and like I think we touched on this like a couple of podcasts ago, where I was like, I'm making puzzles for my game, and I'm like, I'm not sure how I want to gate like the progress of this game, because like some people, when it comes to puzzles or like logic problems, they're just not going to get it. Mm-hmm. And like you've basically broken the game for them. So it's really hard to tune like difficulty of like a puzzle game where it's like, like an escape room type scenario where it's like you have to have like certain logic or knowledge of a particular thing to be able to even solve the puzzle. And like the best type of escape rooms only use things that are in the room to be able to solve it. Where it doesn't rely on you having like external knowledge of something like a Caesar's cipher, or like is it the other one everyone loves is like Morse code. You got to know Morse code to be able to beat this.
I've done a escape room, and it's used like math puzzles and things which required outside knowledge, which I actually thought those were great, because if you're in there's an escape room movie where it's like, how do we solve this? I think it leads to those eureka moments. But go on. To interject.
So there's say like really good type design for an escape room. Like the key and cipher will be in the room with you. So if it's like Morse code, there'll be like a whatever, a key map showing you like what the dot line equals in letters or whatever. So I don't know. That's how a good way to design it, but just not necessarily. And then there's some things that people just aren't going to get. Like there's also like puzzles where it's more open concept, and like you can just go from like puzzle to puzzle, and like you kind of choose your own difficulty of like what you want to get. And like some of those will lead to that eureka moment where you can go back to an older puzzle and you're like, oh, I know how to beat this. Yes. For me, I think it was like Resident Evil 5 or 6. I was like watching my buddy play it, and he was stuck on like this puzzle, and like it's kind of like we're all hanging out and just drinking beers, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like just really drunk, laying on the couch, and I'm like, bro, it's just, and I was just kind of being a dick, and I was like, this puzzle's so easy, dude. I can't believe you're still stuck on this, man. And like I'm just doing this just to talk shit. And he's like, because like I have no idea really what's going on. I'm just a little juiced, and he's like, all right, then you beat it. And like I just hit it. I get the controller. I just start hitting random buttons, just like random guess, and it just unlocks the door. And I was like, boom, and I hand it back to him. And like I did, And it was like a really, because I was just hitting random buttons, it was like a super convoluted like solve.
Yeah.
And it's you know, sometimes you can just smash your way through certain problems.
Did you play it off? We're like yeah, of course.
No, absolutely.
Perfect.
I was like, here you go. But like you run into the same thing when we talk about like fighting games as well, where it's like button mashing, right? Where some people like can button mash, and then the retort is like, if the other person loses to you while you're button mashing, that's on them. They have to have a better concept of the game and the character, and like hit windows and frames as well to be able to counter just random instances
100%.
of like,
yes.
Yeah. So I would say like that's where skill comes into the thing, when it's like you're playing against another person. However, it's harder to design AI against that. So you'll end up in instances of that's why I stay away from Dark Souls. Because like for me, if I do something and it works, and I keep doing that thing, and then one time it like doesn't work, I just get instantly frustrated. I'm like, well, I'm done. This is bad design. So you know, and that's on me. I have like the patience of you know, an ant. So yeah, I would say there's like logic leaps for puzzles with difficulty where it's really hard to design for. Then there's just random instances of just hitting random things and like hoping for a good outcome. The counterbalance to that is usually like a human knowing what to do to balance it out. But like if you're building against AI, it's way harder to counter that, as well as like you'll end up with like cheese, where you can just sit there and like spam like the same combo button and like cheese your way through an entire game. Like Devil May Cry, like you can cheese your way through Devil May Cry, but there's like a really intricate, beautiful combo system that has no right to really be there, like underneath that.
Yeah, but it gets better as the series goes on too.
it gets better, and like it gets better with your knowledge of the system as well. Yes. And it's made by Capcom, and you know they made Street Fighter, so they know their button mashing and their systems.
I'm so glad how you described Devil May Cry, because my issue with that game before, especially DMC4, was a lot of the enemies felt spongy, right?
Yeah.
But then when I loved the first game, but I was like, 2, 3 was okay, and then 4, I'm like, I don't know why people like this, right? I went back a few months ago actually and replayed through 1 through 3. I need to replay through 4, but my love was reignited because of the understanding of the combo system, right? And you're right, it is a beautiful combo system, and honestly, like when you're in it, you go into that zone state, and it becomes such an elegant just ballet of fucking destruction, and it is amazing. So yeah, you're 100% right that
so the way
more of the game,
they deal with it the same way Metal Gear does with like the VR missions. So that's the way they kind of introduce those systems to the player. But they don't really have a tutorial or hold your hand like through like how to actually execute it, unless you go into like a separate game mode to like try and learn like the higher level ideas. And I know like the newer, I think Mortal Kombat has like a better intro tutorial system as well, where it's like it is better at like teaching you how to play the game better and at a more competitive level.
Yes.
Than you would just like picking it up and like trying to figure it out.
The game's tutorial system is probably the best ever in any fighter, with Skullgirls being the inspiration for it. It even shows you frame data and tells you why frame data is important. Like it's incredible. So yeah, and like I think that is a good gateway to get people better at the genre as a whole.
Yeah, and like some of the other pitfalls I know that I personally don't like are when there's like a mechanic that you can do, but they never really explain it to you any other way. Like where like for me, my big foolish moment was Cave Story. I was playing Cave Story, and everybody up until this point is like, it's an old school style shooter. You'll love it because I love my Mega Mans. I love my old school platformer shooters. You
didn't know it was a Metroidvania? You didn't know it was a Metroidvania?
Not even that, bro. This is you're gonna want to slap me when I tell you this. I didn't know
that's one of my favorite games ever. Like
I didn't know you could shoot diagonally in Cave Story. And you can beat that game is so well designed, old school aesthetic. You can beat about 90% of that game without shooting diagonally.
Except for the boss that actually flies.
Yeah. And then at that point you're like, that's the brick wall I hit where I was like, what the fuck? This game is busted. And then I was like, at one point I just like hit diagonally. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, this is me, dude. But I don't know, like that's a player assumption where I just made a bad assumption on like what is possible in that possibility space. And there's other games like Metroidvania, much like you're saying, is like you will make a series of assumptions, but as you progress in the game, you'll realize like, oh, I can do like all this other stuff that I didn't even know was possible. But the game like slowly introduces like those concepts to you, and that allows you to execute better at a higher level. Yes. And it just doesn't happen in Cave Story. Like you just kind of gotta realize you can shoot in all angles. Like I don't know. Don't be a pleb like me. Don't be an NPC.
Yeah, dude. I don't even know how to get around that. Like maybe a little text blurb going, "Hey, you can shoot in all directions," but at that point, like you wouldn't try it. I don't know, man. Like it just seems that's crazy.
Yeah, just assumed it was like Mega Man, bro. I was like, Mega Man can't shoot at no angles. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, okay.
This is my old man. I'm making assumptions that it's going to be.
I guess. Yeah, man. So do you think that... so what's the hardest game you've beaten yourself, would you say?
I have no idea. I don't have like a good concept of difficulty to like what other people consider difficult.
Yeah.
Because like we've all played like so many games for so long where it's like, to me, like I can get a game and like beat it within like a good window of experience of like 5 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like Rogue Legacy, where I ended up just getting a bad roll and I just kept going with like that bad legacy, where I spent probably way too long on that game than is necessary. Like it would have been faster to restart and like play again.
Get a new roll.
Yeah, get a new roll going with the money and like building up and everything else. But
yes,
I would say just RNG wise, probably that game was one of the more difficult ones for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's like another problem as well, that it's hard to design difficulty for is just dexterity, like human dexterity of like what you physically can't execute like a series of commands fast enough. Yeah. And like maybe it's not even your fault, like maybe it's latency, because I've been doing like you saw me like streaming some of those Xbox like Game Pass games, and like you're like, bro, like this you can't play this game with like that 3-second latency, dude. Like
yeah. You're playing a heavy action game with like a 1.5 seconds of latency, and like, dude, then you're like, this game's broken. I'm like, set the game, it's a latency. Good God, download it to your fucking system. I'm so heated.
I'm like, I think I became an old man. Like this game's way harder than I think it should be.
So
I feel like I'm hitting the buttons in times, but the things aren't happening.
So I've reached the point in gaming, and this stemmed from when I was younger, right? Like I've said before on the pod, I've said before to you as well. My very first game ever was Ninja Gaiden on the NES. It was a day where my uncle was babysitting me. He introduced me to video games. One fateful day when I was 4 years old. He's like, "Hey, what game you want to play?" I was like, "Game." He's like, "Yeah. These are all video games. I'll let you play them." He's like, "I'm making your lunch, right, for my sister and I." was like, "Okay, I'll play this one with the ninja on the front." Ninja Gaiden, popped it in. The fucking music hit. The little intro cinematic hit, and then I'm playing. It's fast paced and like it's super fun, right? And I fell instantly in love. I was like, "What other games do you got?" Right? So I was looking at the games he has. Is like RBI Baseball, Mario, Duck Hunt, and Castlevania. And even at that age, I loved horror stuff. Like I like watched old Dracula movies and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I'll try Castlevania. Fucking music hit, just such a good
box art on Castlevania is like a banger, bro. Too.
Yeah, dude, it is. It really
cover
is.
art on the
and then after that, I played Mario, which the iconic do pops in, man, and like that day was probably one of the defining moments of my life in terms of where my entertainment structure would go. A few months
like a
later,
branch right there.
Yeah,
like
man.
The pass in life.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, who knows what I'll be doing with my life? It was such a big moment for me. So a few months later, my uncle buys himself a Sega Genesis and gives me the Nintendo. So I'm sitting there playing Ninja Gaiden every day. The game is hard as fuck. I play it every day, keep going, until one day I finally beat it. I beat Castlevania. I beat Mario. I fucking do an entire season and win the World Series on RBI Baseball. And I start renting games. I rent Contra. I rent Battletoads. I rent all these games that I didn't realize were hard. Right? I just thought I had to get good at them.
Yeah. A lot was just like rope memorization too.
Yeah,
like it was
sure,
like
for sure. It's like snap like, plus like reflex for sure.
Yeah, like the old Mega Man series where I can go back and beat basically 1 through 5 or whatever for the NES without like dying. Like, this is because I had to play them so much and like memorize like all the different like patterns and stuff where it's it's not even like difficult, you know, where it's but like other people who will pick up the game are like, this is fucking it. Where they use like the fucking Russian nuclear AI codes to like program these bosses for like the missile launch like sequence. Dude, this is nuts.
For sure. So as a kid, you know, I beat Ninja Gaiden, Contra, Gradius, R-Type. You know, these are like consistently considered one of the harder games ever. Like even like the first Castlevania is considered hard, right? Growing up, you know, getting more and more just into games and stuff until I reach, you know, teenage years. Ninja Gaiden comes out, the Xbox remake or, you know, reboot of the series, considered hard as fuck. It basically had a fighting game engine in a 3D world. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Beat it on the hardest difficulty, and then I beat it on stream. Ninja Gaiden 2. You know, these games come out and they're like, these are hard, and I always welcome the challenge, right? Because I feel the games that are considered hard like that are really hard because you need to learn the game's mechanics.
Yeah.
So for me, like hard games where you can master the mechanics to overcome the difficulty, I love that challenge. Hard games where it's based on like some sort of grinding or like level, I'm usually not as interested in. So for me, I don't think games or the developers should dumb down the experience that they want the player to feel. I think that if you make a game and you want to make it easy because you want them to experience the story or experience the entire game that you set out, go for it. If you want the player to get good at the mechanics you so painstakingly made, there's no reason to put a difficulty mode in. Like, is it less accessible? Sure. But you'll have this sect of people who really appreciate what you've done and have mastered something you've spent time to create. That's why I think like Dark Souls does such a good job, because that game you have to unpack, man. And so for me, it's so weird, man. I really like the Dark Souls series, right? Never beat a Souls game. I have beaten Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and then for the games that were inspired by it, I've completed Neo 1, Neo 2. You know, I've beaten all these like offshoot games, but never like gone into the Souls games. I've gotten far in Dark Souls 1, gotten pretty far in Dark Souls 3. I just never.
Didn't they just do like the remasters of the game?
But here's, you know why I didn't beat these games is it's not because the game is too difficult. It's just because I had like ADD of games at that point when those games were new and come out. Like something else would come out and be like, okay, I'm going to play this, and I go back to Dark Souls, forget where I was, and don't want to restart. You know?
Yeah.
So I'll get back to it and beat them eventually. I know I will, because I do love it. But
it does seem like a lot of people are bending the knee as well, and like adding in like invincibility modes or like easy modes. I think I saw like a no clip documentary where they're talking to the guys who made Hotline Miami, and they're talking about when they made Hotline Miami 2, their normal mode is like super hard, and they've realized that when they were making the build of the game, the build they had was like running at half the frame rate, so that's why they put that as the normal mode. And then like when they actually shipped it out to people, they're like, oh no, this is like double the speed we thought it was. And they're like, this should have been the hard mode. Normal should have been hard. We should have made like a new normal mode and then an easy mode. So it seems like more people are like want that accessibility for players to be able to experience like their story or whatever. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about just like skipping all that and just having a cutscene mode where you just hit a button, you can just like watch all the cutscenes in the game? Because I find myself as I get older and older just doing that on YouTube, where I'm like, I just kind of want to see what happens in this game, and like I'll put on like a 4-hour video on YouTube of like just like the cutscenes of like a series where I'm like, oh, I'll just watch this.
So it depends.
And it's not just me, bro. It's not just me. Those videos have millions of views.
Right. Like, you're right. I think it's what do you want out of the game, right? Like something like Metal Gear Solid. The series famously has like hour-long cutscenes, you know? I think that if you want to skip the stealth gameplay and you want to just experience the story, go for it. I want to experience the stealth gameplay, though. certain games like adventure games, things like that. If you don't want to solve the puzzles, you don't want to do like the intricate things, go for it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I think that if the game itself has a mode where you can just skip the entire gameplay and just experience the story, I think that does a disservice to all of the work that got put into the game.
About like a hint system or something for puzzles where it's like you can like burn off hints to get the solution.
Yeah, I think that's
something
fine.
Like that.
I think that's fine, but I think it should be locked to difficulty modes. Mario and a lot of Nintendo games do that now, where if you die a bunch of times, it'll say, hey, do you want to enable like either invincibility mode or the mode where it beats the level for you? And like
the Big Brother mode, like watch your big bro play the game for
you.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'd never pick that mode, right?
It should be older sibling mode.
But I played through Mario 3D World with my daughter, who was 4 at the time, right? She just didn't grasp the mechanics yet. So sometimes she'd pick that, right? And her like Princess Peach character would be running alongside me and, just doing things. And then but then you could reactivate your control, right? So she just got through a hard part where, I did it and then her character did it for her. And then she reactivated and she kept playing. So I was like, that's actually ingenious. So I think that achievements should be locked. You shouldn't get an achievement for using that mode. But if you just want to complete the game, go for it, man.
Gatekeeping achievements, bro. Like it's just an achievement.
No. I 100% support gatekeeping achievements. Like you don't get. I am against participation trophies. Like you can fucking put that on paper, dude. I don't like a good job trophy or a fucking you participated sticker. Give me a first, second, third place, and then fuck off. And that's for games too, man. So I think I've softened, but that being said, games that I'm creating, right? I don't think I'm going for the extra hard difficulty. But I'm not gonna make like different modes, at least at this point, because I'm curating the experience for what I want you to experience. It's like when you tell someone a story. Like I'm not adding different things because you wanted it there. I'm telling you a set story. That's how I look at it.
It's definitely. I feel like you kind of hit the nail on the head there, as they say, where it really comes down to the designer's choice for their game experience and what they want people to experience. And like with like the Hotline Miami 2, it was like clearly like they didn't want the end player to experience that bad thing. They just accidentally messed up. So that But to tell like the creator of a game, like, hey, you have to do X, Y, or Z. And I think that's a fair conversation to have, but like, you don't get to decide like what people put in their games for you. Like there's a weird disconnect, I feel. And like the separation between like the artist and consumer are getting like narrow and narrow because they can just go on like any social media platform now and like, hit up somebody who made this game and be like, you're like again that no clip documentary, man, Hotline Miami. Yes. The guy said he used to go on the forums all the time, and then he was like, "Yeah, that shit became fucking toxic." He's like, "I had to stop it for my own mental health. People are assholes."
People are assholes, yeah.
So it's like you're not really interfacing with that creator like face to face. Like you will say stuff to people online that like you won't think twice about it. For whatever reason, like maybe you're having a bad day, or maybe like you're like, oh, I just want to get somebody's attention. Some people just want to watch the world burn. I don't know. But like, there are real people a lot of the times that make these games, and they do consider difficulty, and it's okay if it's serving the purpose of the story that they want to tell. And like, sometimes it's just busted or whatever. Sometimes they don't catch things in like a Q&A or whatever. And the bugs get through as well, where it's like, this is an impossible difficult. So you can't design around like idiots like me who don't know you can shoot diagonally. You just gotta like allow some people to like figure that out on their own. So it's definitely, you can't make a game for everybody, and you can't make a story for everybody. They're pieces of art, man. Like some pieces of art, like you don't like, and they're not made for you to like. They're made for you to like think deeper about a particular subject and have a deeper meaning or a deeper conversation about that. And that's okay, man. Like you're not supposed to like everything.
I think, you're right. You're right. Art is it's not made for everyone. It's made for for anyone who it appeals to, right?
You can't have rainbows without a little bit of rain.
Right. I think that you hit the nail you mentioned something that I think was a really good insightful comment. Some bugs get through, right? Yeah. Some bugs make the game harder. Some bugs introduce mechanics that if you don't master that mechanic, you are like stuck at a lower level than other people.
Some make it easier, like the cheese.
Like well, let's look at Smash Bros. Right? Melee wave dashing. Wave dashing was a bug. Like people, it wasn't in the game on purpose. It was a bug. People who figured out how to wave dash and stuff, they had an inherent advantage in playing the game. You could definitely play it without wave dashing, but you were like in terms of movement and things like you were at a disadvantage. Brawl and other games took out wave dashing afterwards, and the hardcore pro community hated it because they dumbed it down. But really, it was a bug that got through. So then you have like these mods like Project M that introduced wave dashing back into Brawl, and I think that some things are happy accidents that can influence the series, and other things, if it's not like catering to the demographic you have, I understand why you would remove it. Street Fighter 2. What's interesting? Combos in fighting games started off as a bug, because Street Fighter had a bug where you could hit the player multiple times before they went down because of a hit state that they forgot to put a fucking bracket on, and then they realized that, oh wait, this is way more fun to just start juggling people, right? So then they expanded upon this bug. And that's why we have these combo systems in games. It went from Street Fighter 2 to what we have now in these like fucking 300 hit hyper combo games where, skill and time taken to learn it has led to, what we mentioned earlier with Devil May Cry, a elegant ballet of destruction, So I think that my stance on should games be this hard, should games all have an easy mode or a normal mode or something like that, I think it's up to the creator, and I think that you decide as a consumer. If you are truly interested in the game that's coming out, you will take everything with it, including difficulty. If it's too hard for you, do what Chip did, look it up on YouTube to see how the game ends, because the game, at the end of the day, even if you're interested in it, wasn't made for you.
And like some games you can just look at and be like, this isn't for me. It's kind of why I stayed away from Dark Souls. People are like, I think you'd love it. And I'm like, I don't have the time. I know I get frustrated easy when I try and execute things and they don't happen the right way. And that's not fun for me. That's just a bad experience. And I could just look at something and be like, I know this isn't for me, and that's okay. And then people like, I don't know. And then like, you also have to understand, like sometimes designers water down their product to hit a wider audience. Like you can see that with Smash Bros. Like they're taking away a lot of the competitive elements. They're making just a gray field. If it was like a gradient of difficulty, they want to get it all the way down to like as easy as possible. You can see it for like games like Apex Legends, where they get rid of like things like B-hop, or like you have like slide cancels and stuff that they're trying to get rid of. They're getting rid of like things that give you a competitive edge if you have like the skills to execute them, but they're also kind of in a gray area where it's like considered like a bug. Like you're not supposed to be able to like slide, jump, cancel, and like change the direction in the middle of the air. But if you can execute a series of keys better than anybody else, then you can do that. And you have a slight advantage on other people because of that.
I always find if bugs add fun to your game, they are not bugs. They are happy accidents, One infamous bug that I think that Bungie should have kept in as a separate game mode would be the super lunge from Halo 2, where you had a rocket and a sword, and you could actually do it with other weapons as well, but most famous was rocket and sword. The reticle would turn red on the rocket, you'd switch to the sword and then double tap trigger, and right before the sword comes out, and then your character would fly across the map at the enemy to do a sword lunge because of the properties of when your reticle's red with a sword, you get a lunge. So that reticle's red state would stay on until like your sword came out. That bug was so much fun, dude. Like you would have Spartans flying around the map, just like slashing each other, and it was absolutely amazing, to the point where locally my dad, friends, my uncle, like everybody who would come over, we'd have just straight super lunge matches. That was like one of the most fun. We actually kept a copy of Halo 2 unupdated, so we could still do the super lunge games.
I feel like they did get on us with the grappling hook and the Infinite now, man.
It's
pretty fun.
Brought back some of the fun. Yeah,
that's fun, man. I don't know. It's not the same, but it's okay. It's fun. It's fun. Like you said, they're bringing back some of the fun, but like Yeah, man. If it's fun, keep it in the game. Like, I don't know, or like have it patched where like you can do it locally but not online or something. Like,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something. There's ways to work around things.
I think too, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the most famously broken games ever. But at the end of the day, it was fun. So like, fuck it. Like, yeah. So I think that, difficulty, as I said, leave it up to the creators. If however wide of an audience they want, just let them do it. I think tuning your AI and having difficulty that way, that works. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I also don't have a problem if difficulty settings don't matter. I've played games that were super easy that I've enjoyed the story, I've enjoyed the gameplay, I've just plowed through, got everything done. Spec Ops: The Line being a big example, had difficulty modes. One of the best fucking war stories I've ever experienced in a game. I beat it in one sitting. It was a fantastic experience. I suggest everyone play it, but does that game need to be harder? No. Could it have been if I played on hard? Sure. But it didn't have to be. Like, I enjoyed every bit of it. So, it's personal preference. But like I said, the creator, it gives you what they intended. And if you're upset that you can't experience it because you either don't grasp the game, don't want to take the time to learn it, lack the skill, that game is not for you. And that's okay.
It's also okay to like look up things too. Like if you're stuck on something, like maybe just look up like how to do it on YouTube. Be like a lot, like the search algorithms are so good where you can like just type in like what part of a level you're stuck in, and like you can watch somebody else like get around or do what you're trying to do. And like I don't know, for the longest time as a little kid, I used to think of that as cheating, like strategy guides or looking up things. Like, nah, man, it's like you only got so much time. Like especially as people get older, it's like. True. I will look up the solutions to things after a little bit of time. Now I'm like, I'm giving this thing 5 minutes. If I can't figure this shit out, I'm going online. I'm getting some help from people.
One thing I miss is games having codes, because like, sure, they can help me beat the game and that's fine. But like certain codes, like all weapons from GTA, like 99 lives from Contra, things like that, where I thought having codes was great. And I make it a point to try and see if the game I'm working on will be better by having codes, so
secrets.
So I thought that was fun, like playing Mortal Kombat and getting C right, A left, A B up. Would introduce the extra mode where you can unlock smoke and have additional fatalities and blood and all that stuff. So it's it's one of those things where I miss, and it was just made for coders, but I think that was something that is missing in this day and age, what with our cloud saves and our constant patches and stuff.
It's just another option to help tune difficulty.
Yeah,
like a lot of times the people are just putting it in like pause menus now as well. Yeah, where they like hit pause speed. And then like and then there's other things as well, like we said, that aren't necessarily design choices as well, like colorblind mode and things for like people who have like hearing issues with subtitles. The accessibility as well, like sometimes helps make the game way easier, man. Like if you can't see certain colors or True. Have trouble hearing, like you're like, where's this sound coming from? Especially as like into like PlayStation 5 and their dynamic sound system, where they're like, oh, it's like 5D space, man. It's like some people can't hear in regular 3D space, bro. Like, you need to like have like something that like shows me like on the screen where the sound's coming from to help out.
Yeah, interesting, man. So yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything we wanted to hit on this topic here.
Touching on that difficulty, man.
I think so, man. What's your opinion of it? Are you okay with the difficulty? Do you think games need easy mode, or you think that where it's at, we're okay because of the creators?
I think there's just so much options out there where don't be afraid to like try different things. And then it's okay to wait for like games to go on sale. Like if you're not sure about something, it's okay to go online and like watch other people like play the game to like you'll have like some sort of idea if you're going to enjoy that experience. And some games, there is a big market. Like the market's already spoken on this. There's a lot of people who enjoy a good challenge. Like they play games to feel challenged, to overcome like those problems. And they enjoy that, man. It's the reason why they keep making new Dark Souls and Dark Souls-esque games, is because the people are buying them. So
give the people what they want.
Give them what they want. Speak with your wallet. Don't be afraid to buy a game that you like, and just put it on the box, man. It's like Dark Souls' big marketing push, right? So you will die.
It's hard as fuck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was it. They were just you will die, and that was just, like their whole marketing push. And people were like,
true.
Okay,
that's true. That's true. That's a great point. And
just be upfront. If your game's hard as balls, just be like, hey man, this is not going to be for everybody. But
hard as a motherfucker, right? For sure. All right, bro. Well, I think that's our time.
Why do people say hard as balls? Like balls are pretty soft, dude.
That's true. Unless you're talking about,
like softballs, then those are hard.
Right. I think if your balls are hard, you should go see a doctor, right? Like, let's just be honest at this point.
You go get like cough, go see a doctor.
Right. This pod has all been just building up to this prostate health check. All right, everyone check your It's like
check, you gotta check see a doctor if there's any sort of hardness.
Hardness in your testicles. We'll see.
It's no joke, man.
All right.
Serious.
And with that PSA, we're gonna sign off here. I'm Mr. Gimpy.
Chipmunk.
You guys have a great day, and check your balls for your to make sure everything's all right. Take care, everybody. We out.
Bye.